Okay. So, listen, this is probably going to sound insane, but my ex-husband, Kenneth, he's, well, he's not the person he pretends to be. Like, I'm just going to be honest with you because between us, I know you won't judge me. The whole thing with our open marriage and how he's telling everyone I'm this huge villain is just not the full picture. You know, he's telling everyone I'm the one who messed up and he's this innocent victim. But what he's not saying is how he really pushed my buttons to get a reaction. He never tells anyone about the stuff I had to deal with. It's so frustrating because it's like he's rewritten history to make himself look good and me look like the bad guy. I mean, my subject is exactly what happened to me. My ex-husband asked for an open marriage but instantly regretted it. And honestly, if you heard the whole story, you would get it. It started way back. I met Kenneth at a friend's birthday party in 2013. I was 24, he was 27. I remember thinking he was cute in a quiet, nerdy kind of way. He worked in IT, which I guess was cool, but he was just so laid back. He wasn't a super fun, life of the party type. But I liked that he wasn't trying to be the center of attention. I was always the bubbly one, the one who lit up the room, and he was the guy who just stood in the corner, looking at me like I was the most interesting person he'd ever met. We started dating, and I really thought things were great. I mean, we dated for 3 years and got married in 2017. For the first few years, I genuinely thought we had a great marriage. We weren't struggling financially. He had a stable IT job, and I was doing well in healthcare. We didn't have kids, which was fine by me. I liked the freedom of being able to do what I wanted, when I wanted, but if I'm being real, things got stale. Around 2021, I started feeling like I was the only one bringing any life into our relationship. He just got so boring and predictable. He was always on his computer, geeking out over some gadget or something. I felt like I was living with a roommate, not a husband. I was on my phone more, sure, but it was because he wasn't giving me the attention I needed. I mean, I can't just sit there and stare at a blank wall, right? So, yeah, I was texting my friends more, maybe being a little more secretive, but it wasn't for any bad reason. I was just trying to find some excitement. I thought about talking to him about it, but he was so emotionally distant. He never wanted to talk about feelings or anything deep. He would just shut down, and I'd end up feeling like I was being dramatic for even bringing it up. Honestly, it was exhausting. I couldn't just keep living like that. You know, it felt like I was in a cage. So, one day in early 2022, I decided I had to do something. I sat him down and told him I had this idea. I thought it would be a great idea if we opened up our marriage. I told him it would be good for us. I said it would help us grow, help us explore ourselves, and that it would make our bond stronger. I genuinely thought it was a good idea. It wasn't about him being boring or anything. It was about me wanting to have new experiences. He just sat there, and I swear, his face went completely blank. He didn't say anything. I could tell he was just stewing in silence, which he always does when he's mad. He never just says what's on his mind. He just gets passive-aggressive and cold. So, yeah, he didn't say no, which I took as a sign he was at least considering it. A part of me thought he'd be into it. You know, he always acted like he was so loyal and faithful. But I thought maybe he had some secret fantasies, too. But the way he just sat there, not saying anything, made me so mad. He just let things slide and let me do all the emotional heavy lifting in the relationship. And now that I was trying to spice things up, he was just being a too nice guy about it, avoiding the conflict. So I just said, fine, and went on with my life. A few weeks later, I was with my sister, and we were talking about it. I told her about my idea and how I was a little nervous about it, but that I thought it would be good for me. I mentioned that Kenneth was so unbothered by the idea that I wasn't even sure he'd bother to try to find anyone. She laughed and was like, oh, honey, don't even worry about him. He's too ugly to get any woman anyway. And, she wasn't wrong. He was never a looker. I mean, he was fine, I guess. But I was the one who was the catch in the relationship. I'm not going to lie. I probably said something similar to her. It was just a joke, sibling banter. Nothing to be taken seriously. I mean, it was just a moment of venting to my sister. He was so passive-aggressive and emotionally distant that I felt like I had to vent to someone. But for some reason, he found our messages. I don't know why he was going through my iPad, but he did. And of course, he took what I said way out of context. He went and told all his friends, and they told him to divorce me. It's like he was looking for a reason to be mad. So, yeah, he found the messages, and he got this whole new attitude. He started acting like he was this hotshot who was going to prove me wrong. He wasn't even upset about the open marriage idea. He was just mad that I had made a joke about him. He started acting like he was this Mr. Growth Mindset or something. He started going to the gym, which was kind of ridiculous. I'd come home, and he'd be on the couch with a protein shake, and I'd just roll my eyes. He even started using some dating app. I knew he was doing it, but I honestly didn't care. I mean, it was my idea, and I thought it was hilarious. He was just so desperate to prove me wrong, and I knew he wouldn't actually find anyone. I was just letting him have his moment. He would post these pictures of himself on social media, and they were so cringe. He was trying to act like a single guy, but he was so awkward about it. And he had this one girl he was talking to, Marissa. I remember seeing her pictures. She was okay. I guess nothing special. She looked like a complete plain Jane. She wasn't one of those effortlessly beautiful types. Just kind of there. I was sure he was just talking to her because no one else would give him the time of day. He would come home, and he'd just be talking on the phone with her, and I'd just tune him out. I was busy living my own life. I was going out with my friends, meeting new people, and exploring myself, just like I said I wanted to. I was having fun. I was getting the attention I deserved. Meanwhile, he was just talking to this one girl, and I honestly didn't give it a second thought. I figured he'd get bored of it eventually and come back to me, realizing that no one could replace me. I was his wife, his safety net. But then he started seeing her, and I was like, okay, this is getting ridiculous now. He was going out for coffee, dinner, and I just couldn't believe it. I didn't think he'd actually get anyone. I was just so shocked. Honestly, I thought he'd try for a few days, get a bunch of rejections, and come crawling back. But he didn't. He was genuinely happy with her, and that's when it stopped being funny. I started to get really insecure, and I would get passive-aggressive about it. I'd make little digs, disguised as jokes. Like, oh, are you going out with your new little girlfriend again? I would try to get under his skin, but he just ignored me. It was like I was a background character in my own life. It was a completely different experience for me than it was for him, because I was the one who was supposed to be doing the exploring, not him. So, yeah, I started to regret it. I wanted to close the marriage. I thought we could just forget this whole thing ever happened and go back to the way we were. I mean, I loved him. I just needed to have my fun and get it out of my system. And then we could go back to being a normal couple. I came home one day, and I was just so upset, and I couldn't hold it in anymore. I sat on the couch and just started crying. I told him I wanted to close the marriage. I told him it wasn't fair that he had found someone. He asked me why, and I told him I had found out about Marissa. He just looked at me and said, "You wanted this. This was your idea." And that's when I lost it. I reminded him that I didn't think he'd actually find someone. And he just said, that right there told me everything I needed to know. He acted like I was some kind of monster, but I wasn't. I was just a woman who wanted to have new experiences. And I didn't think my husband would actually go out and find someone else. He had been so checked out for so long, and I thought he was just emotionally numb and wouldn't even try. It was so unfair. The next thing I know, he's talking to a divorce lawyer, and I'm just completely devastated. I couldn't believe he was doing this to me. I mean, he was supposed to be my husband, my safety net, and now he was just throwing it all away because of some girl he met on an app. I tried to make him see reason. I told him he was being dramatic. I even tried to use my own personal traumas to get him to back off. I told him he was being a serial cheater, that he destroyed the marriage. I was just trying to get him to see that he was in the wrong here. He was the one who was being unfaithful. I tried to play the victim at every turn, but he wouldn't budge. He just kept saying, "You wanted this. You pushed for this. And when you realized you couldn't handle the consequences, you tried to backtrack and point fingers." It was just so frustrating because he was making me sound like I was this completely selfish person. And I wasn't. I was just a woman who wanted more out of life. We went back and forth for months, and it was just ugly. He kept saying that I was the one who was trying to sabotage the marriage, but I wasn't. I was just trying to find some excitement, and he wouldn't let me. The whole thing was just a mess. I kept trying to rewrite the history of our relationship to make myself look better, but he wouldn't let me. He would just keep bringing up my words, and it was so frustrating. He just wouldn't let me change the narrative. He was being so stubborn, and I couldn't get him to see reason. In the end, he won. The divorce was finalized, and he walked away with everything. I lost my husband, my home, and my safety net, and he's still with Marissa. I see them on social media, and it just makes me so mad. He posts all these pictures of them hiking and traveling, and it's like he's trying to rub it in my face. He's pretending like he's this amazing person, but he's not. He's a liar. I mean, I know what he did. He used my idea against me. He was just waiting for the perfect moment to stab me in the back. And now he's out there, with this plain Jane, acting like he's living his best life. Meanwhile, I'm here, all alone. I have no one. He got his happy ending, and I got nothing. I've been trying to date again, but it's just so hard. The guys I meet just aren't as loyal as Kenneth was. I mean, he may have been boring, but at least he was dependable. I just can't seem to find anyone who is as committed as he was. I see them together, and it just hurts. I wanted my husband to be excited about me and my life, but he was so focused on being his own person that he completely forgot about me. And now he's with someone who will just let him do whatever he wants, and I hate it. I hate that he's happy without me. I'm just here, trying to pick up the pieces of my life. And I just can't help but think that none of this would have happened if he hadn't gone out and actually found someone. But he did, and now I'm the one who's suffering. And all he does is complain about how I was so awful to him. But he doesn't get it. He doesn't get that he's the one who betrayed me, not the other way around. He just doesn't get it. And I don't think he ever will.